Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires Beliefcast. As always, thanks for tuning in. I can't thank you enough for all the support that you give me, and also that you share these episodes with your family and loved ones. It means the world. Also, another shout out to my sponsors. I couldn't do it without you as well. Today on the Beliefcast, I am honored of sitting down with Brandy Vega, a true warrior of mental health and a global force for good. As the founder of Promise to Live, Brandy has inspired millions across 117 countries to choose life, speak up, and stay connected through her powerful message of hope, healing, and community. From producing global live streams in Hollywood to handing out over 80,000 pocket hugs, Brandy's mission is bold and deeply personal. She's a mother, a veteran, a creative powerhouse, and all the above, a beacon of light in the darkness for so many. You're about to hear from someone who truly is changing the world one promise at a time. So, Brandy, there you go.
She sounds pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, doesn't she?
Yeah. Dang,
well, it is
like
pretty
that.
cool. Like, it is pretty cool, and you're pretty cool, and what you do is amazing.
Thank you.
So many people, as you well know, probably better than all of us, that, so many of us are struggling. What's that quote by Henry David Thoreau that says, most men lead lives of quiet desperation?
Oh.
I think we're stuck in this rut, and a lot of us just put on a mask. Everything's fine. So what you do and how you reach out and really make a difference is really inspiring to me. We have talked online, back and forth, texting, emails for probably 5-6 years now.
Right.
And here we are finally face to face.
Dreams come true.
Right. So
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time, Brandy. I know you're busy, but thank you for being here. It means the world.
Well, I appreciate being here with you because I also really admire the work you're doing. And I love being around people who don't just talk the talk, but they walk it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Well, why don't we start off for our listeners to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
Tell us where you grew up and maybe a little bit about your childhood and your family.
I'm originally from Arizona. And, like a lot of people, I had a rough childhood. My parents were very young. My mom was a high schooler, and it was a tough time for us. We moved around quite a bit when my parents were together because my dad did construction. So I bounced around. I lived in Arizona, Texas, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico. I mean, I was never in a school more than a year and was always the new kid. And it was really tricky and hard. And it got harder the older I got because, I loved sports. And it was hard to actually ever get on or make a team or, because they just didn't know me.
They didn't know you. Didn't know your background.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I ended up graduating early and I joined the Army. And actually we moved to Utah when I was in high school.
Okay.
And this is kind of where I finished out and graduated, joined the military as a broadcast journalist and public affairs specialist because I knew if I was going to go to college and get an education and live my dream, which was broadcasting, I always wanted to be a news reporter, that I'd have to figure out a way to make that happen.
So the Army at least was the best option for you. Is that why you looked at that, or were you like, man, I want to go?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's so funny because my daughter's looking at joining the Air Force, and I didn't know the difference between the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. I didn't grow up in a military family. I didn't know much at all. Yeah. It was just my senior year. The Marine Corps called me and said, what are you going to do with your life? I said, I'm going to be a reporter. They said, well, where are you going to go to school? I was like, oh. Hadn't really thought about that. How are you going to pay for college? My grades are not good enough to get me a scholarship or anything. And so I ended up just deciding, well, let me see if I could do the military thing. And it was like, wait a minute, you're going to pay me. And instead of 4 years, I can do it all in like a year.
Wow.
And so that was, it was like a series of tests. I had to pass 4 or 5 tests. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, I was at boot camp, a little bit like Private Benjamin.
How was boot camp? Was that tough?
$1 million experience I wouldn't give you 2 cents for. It's like,
Okay.
I never want to do it again. But you know what? It was so fun. Like, it really was. You get to be challenged. And I showed up with, I was super naive. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, hey, great, I'm here for camp, kind of sort of thing. And throwing grenades and shooting machine guns. And I was the very first year they made it co-ed. And we were the very first like rotation. So, you know, going through that and getting pushed way harder because they had never combined the females and the males. This was in 1996.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
So they probably just kept the pedal to the metal. You guys better keep up. Let's go.
I've never done more push-ups in my entire life. I didn't even know that I could do like more than 100 push-ups in a day, but turns out I can do a lot.
Yeah, I bet. Have you ever seen The Selection by chance? It's where they take people off the street, it's the average Joe, and they put them through Navy SEAL training to see if they can handle it, and they can quit at any time. So I kind of picture that where there's like, what did I get myself into here?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait a minute. My friends are going, I'm going on senior trip. I'm going on a cruise. And I'm like, and I'm getting smoked and gassed and stuff. It was not awesome.
I'm getting gassed out here. I got to sit there and go through that. Wow. But I can imagine too, there were some amazing lessons that you learned because of it, as hard as it was, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was amazing for me. I mean, I ended up with my career doing broadcasting. I came back. I started working for Fox News when I was 20 years old. I was reporting, one of the youngest reporters ever.
Jeez, that's amazing.
I got to interview the president of the United States. I got to work at the War College. I mean, I got to cover the World Military Games over in Croatia. It was so cool, the things that I was able to do and travel the world just as a young girl.
Yeah, that's impressive. So, I know this is a big question because there's many lessons I'm sure you learned, but you look back in your childhood, what were the things even now that stand out to you that you learned just going through, moving all over the place, trying to find new friends and then eventually getting your degree?
I think one of the biggest things for me is, I put a lot of thought into it. Life is what's given. Opportunity is what's taken. None of us get to determine where we're born, to whom we're born, what circumstances we're in. And so, but we all have an opportunity every day. Yeah. You have opportunities to take it. The other thing that I think of is most people consider themselves shy. There's been surveys that say like 80% of the population consider themselves shy. So I try to be outgoing.
Okay.
And we actually had something come up the other day. Last year I was doing a lot of work and I just thought somebody didn't like me. Here I am 40 some and it was like, yeah, she doesn't like me. That's what I thought. Just because blown off and whatever. Right. Yeah. And then she wrote the nicest tribute to me online. It was like, hey, if you don't know Brandy Vega, she's amazing. She does this, she does this. And I was just like, wow, why did I think this? And so I've shifted my belief to assume everybody loves me. Just assume everyone loves you and you're going to be a lot happier than assuming people don't like you. And I think having to make friends and having to go after things, nothing was handed to me. So I really had to learn hard work, dedication, drive. And my mom taught me that. She was a great example of never giving up and working hard.
Wow. I love that. Switching the narrative. You know what? No, people actually love me.
Yeah, just assume that.
And it's funny you say this because I think we all wrestle with that. We always assume, oh, that person doesn't like me.
They didn't return my call.
Well, they didn't return my call or they looked at me funny when they didn't even really see me. But I assume, oh, they don't like me. I think I'm guilty of that, Well, but I love that, how you switch that around.
It was funny because I saw that and I just thought, I've been thinking she didn't like me for the last year or two. Right. And here she is singing my praises and I was blown away. It was really humbling actually. And then I went to an event a few months ago and this lady who I really respect, who's crushing it in the industry, she comes up and she goes, hey, have I done something to upset you? And I was like, no, why? She goes, I just get the feeling you don't like me. And I said, are you kidding? I think you're amazing. I love you. And I kind of shared that story. I suffer from RBF. And so I know I look like I don't love you, but I do. And it was just kind of this full circle moment.
If you don't know this, her husband's over off the side here laughing.
He knows that too.
He knows.
I say, I have to try to smile all the time. Otherwise people think I'm angry. Yeah. But it was just funny for me to think, wow, I love this lady. And I think she's amazing. And she thought I didn't like her because the way I looked at her. I didn't acknowledge her. And so it's so easy. And I've been really trying to focus on that and share that with other people. Choose kindness, give grace, lead with love, assume everyone loves you.
Wow, I love that. Great message, by the way. I love that. Thanks. You know, I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, and I've interviewed a lot of people who've moved like you have, you know, constantly moving. And what I've seen, a common thread among all of you who had to move all the time, is this resilience. Like, you're very resilient. Like, what I see you do, and like how you just keep fighting and driving and growing what you're doing, you're resilient. Is that a fair statement?
That's very fair, and thank you. One of my favorite friends and partners runs Resilient You.
Oh, really?
Steve James.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, it's true. You know, it's like when you have to fight for things and when you have to show up and you're constantly trying to win people over. Yeah. It's just, it's hard, but it does teach you, I don't know, how to be resilient, how to show up and be like, you know, for me, usually the boys kind of liked me every time I was new at a school, and the girls kind of hated me. And I
the new girls here.
Win them over. And then by the time you win them over, you move somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Challenging, but yet was teaching you something really important.
Yeah. Maybe, one of the greatest things for me now as an adult has been, you know, I've been doing freelance work for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for 21 years. Wow. That's amazing to me because I've never had that kind of consistency or continuity in my life where I did anything for a long period of time. Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah. It's unheard of someone staying at something that long nowadays, right? Yeah. It's usually someone's had like 10 jobs in 5 years, you know?
Yeah. And just bouncing around. And that was my career too, Todd. Yeah. It's like, okay, you go work at a TV station for a year or 2 or 3, and then you move on to the new station. You're always growing. So for me, I'm finding so much pleasure in planting roots and being grounded in community and in building something that is staying.
Yeah, I love that. Well, so, you know, you go through the Army, you get through all that, you know, and, you know, you're an advocate for those who are suffering. I mean, that's a good way to say that. And that encompasses a lot of things, I know. But tell us, you know, share the story of why that means so much to you and how you got to that place.
Well, when we talk about my childhood, at 12 years old, I felt so much despair. And I went through a really hard time during one of my moves, and I actually attempted suicide. And I knew what it felt like. And I was able to get out of that because I envisioned my mom finding me. And so I stopped and I didn't struggle with it, but it was always forefront in my mind as suicide prevention, mental health. I teamed up with the Attorney General. I spoke at schools. I was an advocate. Yeah. I knew quite a bit. But then when my daughter attempted suicide at 12 years old, I did not see it coming. I mean, were there signs? Maybe, but they're like the preteen signs. But here's the other thing. At the time I was single, I had just built my production company. I own a studio called Vega Media Studios, and I had this big production company. I had just adopted a baby through foster care. I had a little guy. I was a surrogate, so I just had a baby for a family, and I was raising my 2 girls on my own. And it was terrifying when my daughter attempted the first time at 12.
I can imagine. Wow.
But I didn't talk about it because of the shame and the stigma and the fear. And I just thought, man, I must be so horrible that my own kid would rather be dead. Wow. And I thought everybody would judge me. And so it's just, we didn't talk about it. We covered it up and buried it as a dirty secret. Yeah. And 2 years later, when it happened again, I knew I couldn't do the same thing. And so luckily my daughter's friend, she was 14. She had the courage to call 911. Police woke us up in the middle of the night, banging on our door and saying, "Is this your daughter?" And I thought, oh, what did she do? Yeah. And they said, go check on her. We got to Primary Children's. We found her, and they didn't even have a bed for her. They'd had so many kids attempt suicide that day. And we're talking like almost a dozen.
Really?
And I was crying. I remember in with like the doctors and nurses, they were crying too. And they're just like, we don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous. We've never seen anything so bad. And, I was begging God for a miracle because we didn't know for almost 2 days it took for her to come out of it. If she was going to have permanent issues and if she was going to be fully functional and what that might look like. And so it was the next day I did the most vulnerable video of my life. And I was in my car at the hospital. And I volunteered at the hospital for 7 years doing spiritual care, and nobody dies alone. I sat with a lot of patients.
Yeah.
It's way different when it's your little baby.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I did a video in my car, and I just said, I need help. I don't know if my kid's going to make it. And if she does, like, where do I go? What do? I can't lose her. And I know some of you have been through it, but when you're in crisis, you don't remember who went through what. And people don't say, oh, by the way, suicide.
Right.
Like, we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
And so I did this video, and I just said, I need help. And it went viral overnight on my personal Facebook page, 12,000 views. I had hundreds of messages from people like you, people that I admire and respect that I would have never thought were in this situation. And my friends at NBC, because I worked in media and TV, I was a news reporter for 15 years and worked in television. Yeah. They called and said, hey, will you do a story with us? And I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You know, I was in that world for a long time of if it bleeds, it leads, you know, and it was just like the pain. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm in pain. I'm going through the worst moment of my life. And you want me to, let me just show up on camera and give you a news interview. Yeah. Wow. And so I said, absolutely not. No, I'm not interested. But then I went back into the hospital, and I was just begging God for a second chance. I was like, please just let her be okay. And I was told very strongly, I received inspiration, a message, whatever people want to call it. But the Spirit told me, Brandy, I will give you a second chance. There will not be a third. What are you going to do? And I was like, God, if you save her, I'll do anything. And it was like anything. Within an hour, she woke up and was fully functional. And I was holding her hand, and I said, baby, are you glad you're alive, or do you really wish you would have died this time? And she was like, Mom, I didn't really want to die. It was just too late. Yeah. And so this is what we've learned is people don't want to die. They just want to kill the pain. Yeah. And they don't know how to kill the pain without maybe ending their life. Yeah. And it was, you know, it was a process. I mean, she was in the hospital for a little while, and then she was in inpatient, and then she was in day treatment. Yeah. But it was literally 2 weeks later, NBC called me back, and they said, we've never seen suicides this high. Nobody will talk to us. Will you please reconsider? And I'm hearing, I'll give you a second chance. There won't be a third. What will you do? And I said, I'd do anything. I was like, anything but that. No, like I didn't mean that. Yeah. And I didn't mean that part. I wondered, I was like, am I being tested? And if I'm terrified, Todd, and I've been in front of the camera my whole career, I served in the military, worked in law enforcement. If I'm terrified, what does your typical mom or dad feel? And if not me, who? And so I reluctantly did the interview. And I just said, if you're watching right now, stop what you're doing and go check on your loved ones, your kids, and ask them point blank, are you suicidal? This is what I found. Honest questions get honest answers. And I would ask your listeners right now, stop what you're doing and check on the people you love and ask them honest questions. Are you feeling suicidal? After that aired, I had a dad reach out to me, and he said, you just saved my daughter's life. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I watched your story. I went in to check on her. She had already written her suicide note, and she was in the process of trying to end her life. We're at the hospital right now. And I was blown away that my little message, no expert, just who me. Yeah. And then it was like the next morning, I got a message from a family who said, hey, thank you for being vulnerable. We watched your story on the news. We talked to our 15-year-old son, and he confessed he was going to kill himself this weekend. We're getting him help. This is what really ignited the journey over the last 4 years, because I thought, I'm no expert, but if my personal pain and story shared on local news that reached, 20, 30, 50,000 people could save 2 lives that I know of that actually reached out. What if we could use technology, the media, my experience, the community, and what if we could reach 200,000 or 2 million? Yeah. And I thought of Live Aid from 1985. I mean, I was just a little kid. Yeah. But the world came together to save starving kids. And I think that our world, our country, we come together when it counts. And so we do. I put together the very first event out of my studio 4 years ago. And it was a 3-hour show of hope, help, healing, and resources with celebrities, influencers, speakers, people like you. And we reached 160,000 people. Amazing. And then the next year we did it again out of my studio. We reached 400,000. Last year we took it to Hollywood. We reached over 3 million. Wow. And this year we think we'll hit between 5 and 10 million.
That's amazing.
Right? Like that's
so
that's
cool.
the power of community. And that's a power of opening your mouth, because when we talk about this stuff, we stop stigma.
For sure. And my thought too is the power of vulnerability. You were very vulnerable to do what you did, because put yourself out there. That's a vulnerable thing to do. Yeah. Especially when there was a stigma back in the day behind all that, right? So it's easy to go, I'm not going to say anything.
I never wanted to be the face or the voice for this. This was never a dream of mine. In fact, I fought against it. Mm-hmm. But I also have my daughter. Yeah. And about 6-8 months ago, we had a hard conversation in the car. And I'm proud to report she's doing great. She graduated a year early. She had to show me up. I was only 6 months early on the honor roll. And she's doing fantastic. But it was quite a while ago, we had a hard talk about politics. And at the end of it, we were standing in the kitchen and she looked at me and she's just staring at me in the eyes. And she goes, "Mom, I can't wait to get old like you." And I teared up. I started to cry, not only because she called me old and it kind of hurt, because I know I am, and the wrinkles and things, but it was the first time in 5 years she said she wanted to live. Wow. And that she saw a future, and that she wanted a future. And that's everything we fought for. And I have a gal on my team who lost all 3 of her sons to suicide. My stepsister lost both of her boys.
Oh, I can't even.
And the one lady, she goes, "Brandy, I hear you say this." And she goes, "It's just not fair. Because I say I'm one of the lucky ones. I got a second chance." She goes, "You got a second chance with one of your kids. I didn't get a second chance with any of my 3 boys. It's not fair." And I said, "It's not lost on me." And that's why I wake up every day, like Da Vinci said. He said, "I've been impressed with the sense of urgency. Being willing is not enough. We must do." And so it's like I'm getting up and I'm working every day like lives depend on it, because I know they do. Yesterday I had 2 calls from, "Hey, my son attempted suicide this morning. What do I do?" And so we constantly fight for this. Jeez. And it's a struggle. We're losing a lot of people.
We are. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That really hits home. It really does.
It does. And it's just been amazing, though, what we do. I want to share what Promise to Live is.
Please. Yeah. And this is your organization, Promise to Live. I love the name of it, by the way. I think it's fantastic. And I want to talk about the coin you handed me before we started as well. Yeah.
So for me, all of this started with me making God a promise. If you save my daughter, I'll do anything. I didn't expect to have to work this hard, but I gave my word. Yeah. And there's studies that show if you make a promise ahead of time, these are generic studies, you're up to 60% more likely to keep it when it counts. So every time we go get in our car, what do? We buckle up. Why do we buckle up? Well, in case we crash, our odds of surviving the crash go up.
Right.
We ask people to make a promise to live, which is a promise to reach out for help, whether it be a friend, a family member, a resource like what you're doing, or 988. We don't care what resource. We just want you to make a promise when you're not in crisis that says, "I promise if I find myself in that dark or hard place, if I feel like hurting myself or checking out, I will reach out." If you do that, it's like buckling up for crisis. You don't plan to crisis, but you don't know what the next 6 weeks or years bring.
You don't know. Uh-huh.
And if you find yourself in that spot, you're going to think about, I made a promise to reach out. And so what we did is we created these Promise to Live pocket hugs. And these are like military challenge coins, about the size of a 50-cent piece. And it says pocket hug. It says promisetolive.org. It's got our information. Because one of the biggest things I found when we were sitting in the hospital, you're trying to navigate all this and you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what your insurance covers. You don't know what's vetted and a good resource. And everybody's saying, "Oh, go to here, go here, go here, go here." And I did not know where to go. And so we put all the resources on our site. So I put all the resources in one place because it's not ego, it's impact. But on the back of this coin, it says, "When times are tough and you don't know what to do, here's a hug from me to you. Call or text 988 if you're struggling." So we've given out, as you mentioned, about just over 80,000 of these. Wow. We ask people, make the promise to live. You get a coin to keep, and then you get a coin to give.
To give away. I love that.
Just like Kevin Hines, he said, I went to the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge.
That story.
If somebody would have reached out to me, if somebody would have acknowledged me, I wouldn't have jumped. Yeah. Sometimes we all just need to be seen, and this gives you an opportunity to let somebody be seen. Damn. And I'll share a quick story with you.
Please. I love that, by the way. Oof.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
We were at the convention the other day. I didn't want to go. I'm so busy. And they're like, can you just show up for this thing tomorrow? And I'm like, all right, I'll go. I've learned that oftentimes you're supposed to be in places, even if you don't understand why.
Yeah.
And so I show up, and this elderly lady, she comes up and she goes, I have to share a story with you. And I said, yeah, please. She said, I was at an event last year and I got one of your pocket hug coins. I don't know. We do town halls with Silicon Slopes every single month.
Yeah.
We've been doing these for a long time, but we do a lot of community events and school events. But anyway, she goes, I got one of your Promise to Live pocket hugs, and my husband's a Vietnam veteran and he struggles a lot with PTSD. She said, when I got this, I made him make me a promise that he would reach out. She goes, and keep the coin with him. He keeps this coin in his pocket all the time. She goes, by the way, I've watched it a dozen times. It washes pretty well too. So they're quality made coins.
Yeah, they are. You can tell.
She said the other day, Brandy, he was really struggling and his demons got the best of him. And he'd been drinking a little too much and he was just in a really bad spot. She said he went storming out the door and said, I'm done. I'm done with life. I'm done with everything. I'm done. Wow. And she said she didn't know if she'd ever see him again. And he walked out that door. She goes, I prayed all night. She goes, and the next morning he came walking in and he had tears in his eyes and a coin in his hand. And he looked at me and he said, I'm here because I promised you I would be here because of this damn coin.
Wow.
And I just thought, whether it's a pocket hug that you love or a damn coin, I don't care as long as you keep it with you. And it's a reminder that we give to people to say, keep this with you as a tangible token that you're loved, that you matter, that your life is worth living, and that people care. And so it's been really cool to hear all the stories, because we get stories all the time. My son keeps it with him all the time. My daughter has it all the time. She's giving them out. Can I get more? And we love it.
That's incredible. Wow. It's a beautiful coin, by the way, and I love the message, and I love how it works. Like you said, when we make a promise to ourselves, we're much more likely to keep it. And I believe that because I was thinking in my life, like, when have I kept a promise to myself? And I can think several examples of I said I was going to do this, and I end up doing it. Yeah. Whereas if I'm just going kind of willy-nilly, not thinking of those things, I always like, oh, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have kept up with that.
It's the power of vocalizing it. And what I do, like I had a friend meet up and say, hey, my son's struggling. Can you talk to me? I met up with them last night and I said, okay, I'm going to give you coins for your kids. Here's what I want you to do. You sit them down and you say, you know what? I love you. The world's hard. People are struggling. I struggle, but I love you so much. Have you ever thought about hurting yourself? Have you had any of this stuff? You hear them, you let them know it's a safe place to talk, but then you look them in the eye and you say, will you make me a promise right now? Will you promise, if you find yourself in that dark place, that you'll reach out to me or your mom or to a friend or family, like whoever it is, or this resource? Can you look me in the eye and say, I promise? And then when they do that, you give them the coin, and now you keep this as a reminder of this. You give them a hug. This is a hug from me to you. You keep this in your pocket all the time and know that I'm with you, that you matter. So I walked them through this. We have the bracelet as a reminder, I promise. And it's just letting them know that they're loved and that they're needed, because sometimes we don't love ourselves enough to stay. Yeah. And I know my daughter didn't love herself enough to stay. Yeah. But that's when I said to her, this is kind of part of it too. I said, listen, will you promise to stay for me and your little brother who needs you? And sometimes people have to live for someone else when they don't want to live for themselves to get them through that point. To get through it. Till they find it. Yeah. And so that's what we're saying is sometimes we don't love ourselves enough, but we honor our word and we love other people. And if that's what it takes to get you through those hard times, then okay.
Then let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's beautiful. When I was first getting started in this, when I got through my challenges and addiction and suicide attempts, and I did a drug-free program in elementary schools called Sly Dog, Drug Free, That's Me. And one of the things we'd have the kids sign a promise that they would stay drug-free. We did this in elementary schools. Yeah. Right? And it was kind of the same effect. I would hear later on, when they get to junior high and high school, parents would say, hey, my son or daughter kept the promise. And I'm like, wow, it's so amazing to hear that. Isn't it? And I never connected those dots of what you're saying and how, there's a better chance. I just was some kid winging it, Yeah. But to hear that, it really resonates with me, because I agree with you. Words have power. Commitments have power.
They do.
You know, and commit now before you're up with the challenge, right?
Yeah. I
So,
mean, you're
I
just
just think
planning
it's great.
ahead. It's like, I've thought about that. So then you get in that dark place. I'm going to remember your face and your eyes and thinking, but man, I made Todd a promise.
Yeah. Wow.
I made my dad, I made my husband a
Yeah.
promise. Like, and if you can get through that 9-minute window, your odds of sticking around are great. So for us, we focus on 3 pillars. It's commit. You got to make that promise. That's the first step. If you're not here, none of the resources matter.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we want to get people to promise to be here,
Yeah.
commit to being here. And then we connect them to resources. They can't find them. I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care who gets the money. I just want them to have resources
Yeah.
in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And then we build a community. We've been building it online. We've been building it in person. We do it through streaming, through schools, through our town halls. We're trying to really reach people where they're at.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us so powerful. When we do our show, we live stream on everyone's platform. So we bring it out to your listeners because they already know you and trust you. They
Yeah.
don't know me.
Yeah.
And so that's how we've been able to
Okay.
reach so many people.
That
It's like
makes
if we
sense.
want to reach them, we have to reach them on the devices and platforms that they're using
Yeah.
through the.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swapp and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode.
People in the companies, influencers, celebrities that they already know, trust, and follow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love how all of this, I mean, you know, commit, connect, community. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense. You know, you've heard this before too, I'm sure, from Johann Hari, where he says the opposite of sobriety isn't, or the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's the power in that, knowing that someone's there for me or someone has my back.
Yeah.
Cause
Well, and knowing you can have these conversations.
Yep.
People are so afraid. And it was like after what we went through with my daughter, the doctor told us, check in and ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing? This is a good tool for people who are listening. Ask your spouse or your child on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being fantastic. How are you feeling today? Because then you get a temperature of where they really are. And you know, if they're up high, you can kind of relax a little bit. And you know, if they're down low, then you're not going to leave them alone.
Right.
And you're going to make your plan, whatever that is. We're going to go get, ice cream.
Well, then it gives you, it opens up a conversation, right? Where you can go, well, why do you feel so low? What's going on? What's going on in your life? What's hanging on you?
Yep.
What's the weight? Let's talk about that for a minute. And that's why communication with our kids is so important, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And getting them involved in something that matters. When you can hear, hey, I'm not crazy, or I'm not alone, or other people are struggling. And if you can be part of the solution and know that my pain wasn't in vain, if I've had this struggle and I can talk to somebody else and share this and be part of the solution, then that's a great feeling too.
Yeah, that's amazing. promisetolive.org, correct?
Yep. And it's promise the number 2 live. And the reason we did that is because the first promise is for you.
Yeah. And then the next,
right. You got to make that. And then the second one is for somebody else.
Yeah.
We want you to reach out.
Yeah. I love the branding of it. It's freaking cool.
Thank you.
Like, it really is awesome. And it
Thanks.
resonates. It really does. So, I mean, you're a go-getter. You're high level. Just let's go. Let's make a difference. You've always been that way. And I think because of your childhood and going to the Army kind of built a foundation for you to be this person today. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it is fair to say. But, to that point, I want to say one thing, because people look at you and go, wow, Todd's amazing. He's doing all this stuff. He runs a facility. He probably doesn't have any problems now. And people look at me all the time and think, oh, she runs this or that. And like, she's fine. The whole reason and how the Pocket Hug started, my husband's childhood friend who I'd met one time, she had been following me on social media, and she sends me a card in the mail 1.5 years ago. And it just says, hey, Brandy, I want you to know I see you. And you're always helping everybody. But how are you doing? Has anyone checked in on you? And she sent me this generic Pocket Hug. I'd never even seen or heard of one, but it was just like this little silver coin that said Pocket Hug. And I thought, man, you know what? people don't really check on me. And sometimes it is heavy, and sometimes it hurts, and sometimes it's hard, and the weight is heavy.
Yeah.
And I took that coin. It meant so much to me that somebody thought enough of me, and I put it in my pocket. And I kept it in my pocket for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Every time I touched it, I held on to it. I rubbed it in my fingers. And it was this tangible reminder that somebody thinks of me. Somebody loves me. I matter. And I was asked to speak at my friend's son's funeral. And I'd met her 9 years earlier when I was volunteering at the hospital doing Nobody Dies Alone in spiritual care when her daughter died. And her daughter had a very tragic death. And I spoke at her daughter's funeral. 9 years later, she asked me to speak at her son's funeral. Her daughter died by suicide. Her son died by overdose. And as I'm standing there, I had that pocket hug in my pocket, and I'm holding on to it for comfort because I'm getting ready to speak. And this lady's lost 2 of her 3 children, and I'm just devastated.
Yeah. Wow.
And as I'm holding it and squeezing it and getting the courage I need, I felt inspired to give her my coin. And I said, I have this in my pocket. It's a pocket hug. I want you to have it. It's a hug from me to you to help you get through. A week later, she messaged me and she goes, Brandy, can I just tell you how much that pocket hug meant to me? She said, that got me through the hardest week of my life. On the days I thought I couldn't get up and the days I thought I couldn't function, you gave me courage. I felt like you were there with me. And I felt like I could do the hard things that I didn't know I could do. And I thought, you know what? I felt that same way. And if I felt it and she felt it, what if we could make everyone feel that? What if we could create these and distribute them so that everyone knew and they had a tangible reminder that they carry with them all the time?
All the time, yeah.
I matter. And when you give that to people, you're giving them the gift of being seen. You're giving them the gift of hope. You're giving them the gift of all the things that they might need in that moment. And while it sounds so trivial, you know, I had somebody say, well, you know, what do you guys do besides just a coin and a promise? I was like, well, what is this besides a ring and a promise? You know, I mean, it's all in the way that you look at things.
They're
and it's how
like,
you preface
thanks
it.
for hitting me with that one.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, but it's
No,
like, this
I know.
is so powerful.
That's a good way to put it, because you're right.
And our goal, and I hope that, you know, people can get these online. We're doing them at events, but I want everyone to have one of these. Go make the promise to live. Coin to keep, coin to give. Let's keep checking on one another because we need each other now more than ever.
Well, even like, I imagine like, I picture like sitting down, like a family sitting down, the mom, the dad, or if it's just the mom or if it's just the dad with their kids, whatever your dynamic is. And you have this talk with them, like you said, ask them scale 1 to 10. You give each one of your kids one of these coins. You explain what the coin means. You talk about the power of promise.
Yeah.
And you talk about, okay, we're all going to commit right now. I'm going to hear from each and one of you, and I'm going to do the same thing, that we're going to promise to live. And then here's another coin. Go give it to a friend. I can see a family doing, like, how powerful that would be for a family.
Family,
right?
Business groups, recovery
centers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, man, I need you to have to come here and drop the hammer on my clients. You know
I'd
what I'm
love
saying?
that. And we do letters. You know, we have people write these letters of hope and encouragement, which is more therapeutic for the writer just as much as it is for the person who receives it.
Yeah, 100%.
But we carry these all the time, and I'll give them out. I just see who might need to know that today. And sometimes it's the people you would never expect. I mean, it's the one who looks like, oh, I probably should avoid this person. And then you give it to them and they start to cry and they give you a hug and say, I haven't been hugged in 10 years. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
And even some of the big CEOs who are running multi-million-dollar companies, you think they have everything, and you give them this and say, hey, I just want you to know I see you.
A lot of times they're on the brink of, they're just riding that line, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And what it does is it makes it super easy to open it up. I mean, we were going through TSA and we gave it to some of the security. Yeah. And I mean, some of them hopped over the fence and with tears in their eyes and were hugging us and crying like, you don't know how much I needed it today. And I won't rat out one of my board members, Randy Cameron. We had just finished a retreat at Bear Lake. He's heading out and he was driving a little too fast. He got pulled over and the police officer came over and said, hey man, where are you headed and where are you going in such a hurry? What were you doing in town? He said, oh, I was at this meeting. Tell me about it. He tells him about it. And he pulls out a pocket hug and he gives it to the police officer, and the police officer tears up and he's like, man, this has been hard. They end up having a hug and he got out of the ticket. I'm like, you bribed him with a coin, with a pocket hug? He's like, well, I don't think it was a bribe, but no, you know, it's just one of those things that connects people in a real meaningful way and opens a door for dialogue.
Yeah. Back to that quote by Thoreau that most, I'll add, people are living lives of quiet desperation. We're
Yeah.
just struggling and we need a hug, or we need someone to just say hello. Or again, the coin.
Yeah.
Hey, you matter.
Has anyone checked on you today?
Right. Wow.
And, you know, I often teach about this at the town halls, but I've learned one other thing. The one word that changes everything. Really. You want to know how someone is? You say, how are you really doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing really? Most of us go around just thinking people don't care. They just want the short answer. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm great. Whatever. But if I say, hey, Todd, how's it going?
Good.
How's it really going? Now I've given you permission, saying, I value what you're going through enough. Open up.
Yeah. You want
Try
more
it.
when you say really. You're wanting more information.
I want the truth.
Yeah.
I want the vulnerable you. I want to
Yeah.
know how you're really doing.
Yeah. I love that.
And that's super powerful. I would encourage, again, anyone who's listening, ask your kids that. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm fine, Mom. No, how are you really doing?
Wow.
See what changes.
Sure.
See how your conversations
Oh, yeah.
improve.
Love that. So, you know, you're doing a lot of things, right? You're a busy woman and you're doing a lot of good out there. Can you share with our listeners, like, kind of what's coming up and then how they could connect with you and how they can get involved? And is that...
Absolutely. So September 10th is World Suicide Prevention Day. This will be our 4th annual global live stream. We're doing it in Hollywood. We have tickets available. We have sponsorships available. You know, we're doing a comedy show August 8th here in town with Steve Solberg and Sean Bott.
Nice.
It's going to be really fun at Club Paddock. But we have information. Every single month we're doing the Silicon Slopes, Promise to Live, mental health town halls. And every month is different because we feel like if we can train our leaders who are also parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and community and civic leaders, and they go back and they're learning these things about addiction, about trauma, about what, you know, kids wish every adult knew about their mental health. You know, we're always talking about these different subjects. So if people want to get involved, go to promise2live.org. Our events, we have information that's coming up. We have a calendar of that. We have resources. We're going through an upgrade. But there's all kinds of ways. If you want to volunteer, if you want to sponsor, if you want to speak, if you want to help open a chapter, we've got groups popping up all over the country. And we love that.
Yeah.
And we're starting to work in
spreading.
colleges and universities, and we're getting people to make the Promise to Live and the Pocket Hug Project. So there's all kinds of really, really cool things I'm excited about.
I'm so impressed, honestly. And it's amazing how something so tragic, and it could have been way worse, I know, with your own family, but yet something so beautiful came from it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is pretty amazing.
Well, you know, I never knew what my breaking point was, and I found it the first year I tried doing this, and thankfully at that point I had my husband, and I was laying in the yard crying, and I was like, wow, I never knew what my breaking point was until I found it. But if I didn't have the passion, the professionalism behind it, I couldn't do what we're doing. And I think sometimes we're forced into situations, and because of what we've been through, what we've experienced, our roles, our responsibilities, and our professional abilities, people couldn't do the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And not that they should, but together, we've been trying to gather everybody and do this whole rising tide.
Yeah.
It's like, let's create this collaborative community. And that's why I love working with groups like yours and working with addiction and working with trafficking, because it's a cyclical thing
really
where
is.
at the end of the day, where do you find yourself if you're in despair?
Yeah. Wow.
But it's been great. And now I can't imagine doing anything else. This is our calling. It's our mission.
Yeah.
And we'll do it till the day we die.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're doing it, because we need you. The world needs you. And I know it's growing because you're having so many people help. So thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Honestly. If there's someone listening to us right now, listening to you right now, and they're in a dark place and they've tuned into this episode listening to Brandy, what would you tell that one person right now?
I would tell him I love him. I love you. If we can hate for any reason, we can love for any reason. And I love you. And we need you. And no matter where you've been or what you've done, the world's better with you in it. And there is hope. And there is help. And I promise that it's going to get better. The light will come. There are people who love you, who need you. So we want you to make a promise to stay.
Yeah.
Make a promise to find the resources and the help. And if you're not finding it in your circle, reach out to mine because we're here for you.
Yeah. Love it. Beautifully said.
Thanks.
Guess we could just drop the mic right now and call it good. Well, Brandy, amazing. Thank you for taking some time to share your life with us and all the good you're doing. I'm honored to have you here. Like I said earlier, I'm just glad that we finally get to meet face to face, and I get to sit here in person to see this and witness this and feel of your love and passion for people and your advocacy for those who are struggling, especially those in the, that want to take their lives and you're trying to save them. I love that. So
thank you.
It's
so
really
much.
inspiring, and I just can't thank you enough for taking some time today.
Well, it means the world to spend this time with you, and I'm very, very thankful for the opportunity. And I see you, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate the good you're doing, not only here online, but with your community and your family and your people that come to you. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much. Well, there you go, folks. What another amazing episode. Brandy Vega. Please reach out to her. I'll have the links right there on the show notes. You can click right to them. If you have a family member who is struggling, if you have a cousin, a nephew, a niece, a spouse, a partner, whatever you have in your life, if they're struggling, let them listen to this episode. Let them listen to Brandy's story, because it'll open up some dialogue. You can follow back up with them, point them to Promise to Live. And if someone hasn't handed you that coin, go get the coin. Go get one and make that promise. Promise to live. I promise right now. I promise to live. I'm going to tell you that right now. I really do. And I'm going to share this with my family. So I love you guys. Thanks to my sponsors. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Thank you for being so good to me. And thanks for tuning in week after week. Love you guys. Take care.